Aha! Well, hello again, and welcome back to this Tuesday's MBE Movie News. This time, it's saying the excellent condition is there. The stream health is in excellent condition. It's an excellent connection, so I'm going to get right into it and speak about movie news. And just in case it goes bad again, and I have to restart everything again, and I'm not prepared to do that, so right into it. First topic I'm going to be speaking about on the show tonight is Ryan Coogler. He's making a new Wakanda TV show for Disney. He has signed a 5-year exclusivity contract with Disney to make exclusive TV content for the studio. This is coming in from Complex, and this is what they have to say. There's a couple of quotes there. There is a quote from Ryan himself. There's also a quote from Bob Iger too, and I will read all of them, but let's just start off by reading a little jargon at the start. Black Panther director and co-writer Ryan Coogler is taking his empire to the small screen and building a home within the Walt Disney Company. Doesn't that just sound great? If you're a fan of Ryan Coogler, like I am, you've been watching this guy for many years now and seeing his immense talent shining through in the movies he's been making. That sounds fantastic. This guy's collaborating with the biggest studio in the film industry at the moment, certainly in the Western spheres. And this is what Ryan had to say. It's an honour to be partnering with the Walt Disney Company. Working with them on Black Panther was a dream come true. And that, as avid consumers of television, we couldn't be happier to be launching our television business with Bob Iger, Dana Walden, and all the amazing studios under the Disney umbrella. And Bob Iger, who I thought was away, but apparently is still very much there. He is working on the TV department, and it just so happens that Disney have restructured their entire studio output to focus on the TV side of things. That's quite convenient. Bob's stepped down apparently, but not really. He's had this to say. It's, Ryan Coogler is a singular storyteller whose vision and range have made him one of the standout filmmakers of his generation. I completely agree with you, Bob. With Black Panther, Ryan brought a groundbreaking story and iconic character to life in a real meaningful and memorable way, creating a watershed cultural moment. We are thrilled to strengthen our relationship and look forward to telling more great stories with Ryan and his team. And finally, Ryan sort of rounded it off by saying this: we look forward to learning, growing and building a relationship with audiences all over the world through the Disney platforms. We are especially excited that we will be taking our first step with Kevin Feige, Luis D'Esposito, Victoria Alonso and their partners at Marvel Studios, where we will be working closely with them on select MCU shows for Disney+. We're already in the mix on some projects that we can't wait to share. And you know what? There we go. There's the intro again. There's Be Right Back. I am having a mare tonight. You know what? I'm excited for them to share it as well. As I did say, big fan of Ryan Coogler. I've been watching this guy for years, not as long as some people, I would imagine. I go back to Fruitvale Station, where he collaborated wonderfully with Michael B. Jordan. Man, he's a great director. He's a great film director, and he's already proven that he is box office dynamite, if you like, with Black Panther. This was a zeitgeist movie for the black community, for just Marvel in general, taking this all-black cast and making it blockbuster worthy. Something that wouldn't have happened 20-30 years ago. They would have been terrified of the concept of doing that. They'd had to have had the token white guy, and of course we did have a couple of token white guys in there as well. We had Andy Serkis and Martin Freeman, but that was fine because they were established characters. Certainly Ulysses Claw within the comics. But for him to do that and to make the money he made, to even nab an Oscar, I think it was set design and a couple of other things. I think Ludwig Göransson won for the score as well. For him to do that, that just proved to Disney, if they didn't know already, the talent they had in their midst. And also they can't have him locked down to an exclusivity deal for movies, because the man is free and he wants to do what he wants any old time. So the next best thing is to lock him down to the TV side of things. And of course, as I did say, Bob Iger or Bob Chapek, one of the two, came out and confirmed at the Disney Investors Call about a month and a half ago, maybe more, that Disney have restructured their entire output to focus on streaming, to focus on TV. Of course, we will still see movies coming out, but with that, it sort of signalled a change in creative direction. So what a start to that, really. We've already seen some of the great projects we've got coming out, the likes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. WandaVision's out. And of course, we've got the Star Wars stuff as well, Obi-Wan and Cassian Andor, or Andor as it's called, and the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. What a way to start off, really, this new era, because they were all pre-established before that confirmation. Then, to announce a 5-year partnership with a great talent, right, like Ryan Coogler. And of course, he may not very well be directing all of these separate TV shows himself. That may be that there's an exclusivity in terms of creative process. He may be working with his production company on these TV shows, but it may be like The Mandalorian. It may even be like perhaps Obi-Wan. He off contracts, if you like, the directing to someone new, someone up and coming, even more up and coming than Ryan, and he can just let his creative process flow out in terms of writing, in terms of producing. This guy's produced a lot of really good movies, man. He's produced the Space Jam 2, which I'm looking really forward to. I've seen content, I think it was actually a trailer drop, and I like the visuals. And of course, he has worked on the, I'm actually speaking about it very shortly, the LaKeith Stanfield movie. I'm about to touch on it, literally just getting the reactions in for it. The Black Messiah, Judas and the Black Messiah, that LaKeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya movie, he has produced that. So this guy is, much like Michael B. Jordan, funnily enough, multitasking. He is producing, directing, writing, and that's a great way to have longevity in that film industry. When you're past perhaps your sell-by date in direct, in terms of you've built a production company, stuff like that, that's a great way to continue the process of your career. But man, it may be that he gives, as a tangent aside, he gives a voice, maybe a chance for up-and-coming directors like himself to come into the Disney machine, work on these projects under him, and give them a chance at a career in filmmaking that maybe they wouldn't have got if they didn't have someone like Ryan Coogler in the Disney umbrella. And man, I'm excited for that. We're seeing the likes of Chloe Zhao, I think it is, who's working on the Eternals, and what's the other one? Deborah Chow's doing Obi-Wan. We're seeing a lot of vibrant multicultural directors and up-and-coming filmmakers getting a voice at Disney, and that's great to see. It's great to see that this guy's already working on a Wakanda TV show as well. I've not even get into that. That is the headline. He's working on a Wakanda series. I think there is more meat to the bones of this Wakanda world that we can explore. We have only seen it through the medium, the spectrum of Black Panther and the likes of M'Baku and some of the other ones. I'm blanking on all of the names, man. I'm terrible with names, but we've only seen it through that medium, that sort of big stellar scale fighting with Thanos in the wooded area of Wakanda. This is a very neat world. It's an interesting place in the sense that it housed the Soul Stone, that it, I think, has vibranium or something similar to that. It was sort of the heart of where, I think perhaps, I don't know if it is, I need to actually look it up. I think it's where Captain America's metal, the vibranium, I think that's where it was discovered. So what I'm saying is there's a lot of interesting maybe potential is a better word for exploring Wakanda within a TV setting. We've seen it already, potentially going to be seen even more in hour-long episodes in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that we can have long-form storytelling. I was about to say we've seen it already with WandaVision, but it's a distinctly different beast. 20-30 minute episodes, not really long-term story, long-form storytelling within WandaVision, but man, it opens up so many different I keep saying prospects, potential sort of avenues for filmmakers. They can delve into these characters, into this MCU world in a different form, in a different medium, and I am excited, man. I don't know anything about what this TV show is going to be about. It could be that it focuses on the Lupita Nyong'o, the Danai Gurira character, if I'm saying that name right. There's a whole lot of interesting characters, a whole lot of different tribes within Wakanda. I'm excited, man. I love Ryan Coogler. I'm glad the guy's signed that 5-year deal. He's in the big time if he wasn't already. And look, man, final thing I'll say before I move on. This can only be a good thing for this guy's career as well. This guy made his name making independent movies. He hits the big time with Black Panther, and now he's signed a big deal with them. This could propel this guy up into even higher echelons within Hollywood. And that can only be a good thing, man. And I'm excited for Black Panther 2 as well, man. I've got full trust in that guy to nail the story and the passing of a baton from the sadly departed Chadwick Boseman, hopefully on to Michael B. Jordan's revived Eric Killmonger. But I'm going to move on to the second topic. It's all about the aforementioned, I spoke about it, Judas and the Black Messiah. Speaking of Ryan Coogler, he did work in a producing role on this movie. This movie looks amazing. I watched a Daniel Kaluuya video. It was actor on actor with Tom Holland. He was speaking about Cherry, and he was speaking about Judas and the Black Messiah. And the guy's enthusiasm, the guy's passion for this character that he was portraying in this, and just looking back historically and trying to nail the authenticity but put his own edge on it. It was a fascinating watch. I am extremely excited to see what the reactions are of this movie. I've barely glimpsed over them. I wanted to leave it until I actually delved into the show. Coogler is the only man for the job. He really is. He's almost like James Gunn with the Guardians. There is no one else that you could really trust in terms of filmmaking to handle Wakanda, to handle the Black Panther sort of side stories, spin-offs sort of stories. I don't want to see anyone else doing it, but as I did say, it would be nice if he maybe wants to take a side role, produce, write, that he could maybe give an up-and-coming voice a chance to, a filmmaker a chance to direct and work on the actual TV shows, maybe some of the spin-off TV shows. They may not all be in Wakanda, they may be separate things. I'd like to see an M'Baku TV show, incidentally. Winston Duke's amazing. But man, this is what they've been saying about this movie. I don't know what this is coming in from. It's HBO Max, is it? No, it's Eric Eisenberg from Cinema Blend, their own, funnily enough, promoting their own writer first. He had this to say about Judas and the Black Messiah. While there are some missed opportunities in the structure, the power pack of LaKeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya, and the stunning realities the film depicts leave an indelible impact. That sounds great. This is another one. It's coming in from Empire. There's no other actor quite like Stanfield, who turns the cool ambivalence he displayed in Sorry to Bother You into a chilling kind of moral detachment. I love LaKeith Stanfield. He is momentous, man. He's an amazing, dynamite talent. We've seen that with him and Letitia Wright at the BAFTAs a couple of years back, maybe a year back. They were both up for the Rising Star award. I think it was actually Letitia Wright who nabbed the award, but LaKeith is momentous, man. And him just being in this movie is enough to draw me. But when you marry, I should say, with Daniel Kaluuya, another great talent, man, it's going to be dynamite. I've got absolute confidence. I love my period pieces. I love historical dramas. I've watched the likes of Malcolm X and a whole other array of things surrounding a similar timeline and a similar concept. And I'm excited about this, man. This is what Jimmy, can't even read it, Famaruya from Empire. Is that not just read about Empire? Maybe it's a different guy at Empire, I don't know. Kaluuya is typically magnetic, selling Hampton's twinkly ursine. I can't even say that word, I've never read that word before. Ursine, charm, ursine. Battle weariness and sonorous. This guy's using big fancy words, man. We're not used to that on this show. Half-wrapped, speaking voice. Dominic Fishback leaves an indelible, heartbreakingly human impression with the few lines she has. And Stanfield deserves immense credit for turning a character who could easily be an irredeemable villain into a nuanced, sympathetic figure caught in the violent maw of a systemically racist government. Does this not just sound magnificent, man? It really does. I watched the trailer. I was going to react to the trailer. I think I filmed a reaction to the trailer, and I ultimately bailed on it because it wasn't a great reaction from me. It was more me, not the trailer. And it looked so good. It looked authentic. You've seen the power within Daniel Kaluuya, and just much like the trial of the Chicago 7, it sort of had vibes of protestant things, and activism and things like that. And that was a really good movie. So if it can, I'm hoping it's not matched, and I hope it eclipses that movie. But if it can get on the same wavelength as that, then we're talking happy days here. But we've got a couple. I'm not going to read them all. Well, that's the last two. May as well. This is boldly assured, issues-based filmmaking with real heart, and above all, with a saddened sense of how the past maintains its hold on the present. Finally, his internal struggle, choosing between his newfound love of Hampton and his worshipping of Roy, even with King's callbacks to O'Neill's interview on the docu-series Eyes on the Prize, is muddled, so Stanfield must fight. So Stanfield must fight with one hand tied behind his back to inject O'Neill with greater soul searching. Look, man, there's always a degree of, how shall I put it? I don't know. I can't even think of the word. There's a degree of concern is the best word I can come up with at the moment regarding these initial reactions to these movies, because you can never really trust these modern day critics to tell the truth. There's always a hidden agenda. There's always a hidden want from these guys, be it maybe access to a premiere or a red carpet event or something like that, pro or sans I should say, not pro, sans COVID. So there's always that degree of scepticism when you read these early reactions. Are they telling the whole truth? Or are they maybe just putting a little sheen on it just so they can get their little added extras, their little goodie bags, their little premiere slots? I don't think that's the case here. I think this is genuinely a good movie. As I did say, I really did like the look of the trailer. I love Daniel Kaluuya. I love LaKeith Stanfield. It's a dynamite, I should say. Dynamite's my new favourite word tonight. It's a dynamic, probably the better word, duo. And just the setting and as I did say, watching the actor-on-actor video, you really get a sense that Kaluuya has studied into this guy, that he has looked at every single thing that's made, every fibre in this guy's being tick the way it ticked, and he is really trying to recreate it. So I don't think they are. I don't think for a change that the Hollywood publications are telling a fib. I think they are actually giving us an indicator of how good this movie really is. But look, man, I've not got much more to add to it. I've not seen the movie, and on that note, I'm going to move on to the next topic. It's all about Zack Snyder. Zack's been revealing. It was my first picture as the director. Slitting my words there like Stephen King did back in Maximum Overdrive trailer, sort of Halicon days. Zack has been revealing a lot of new stuff for the up-and-coming Snyder Cut. Of course, we spoke about it, that he had completed the process. It's finished, it's in the can, and it's going to be hitting HBO Max in I think a month. I think it's coming out in March. And he has had one more little reveal up his sleeve, and it's Jared Leto's Joker. And of course, Jared slid his way into this movie via the reshoots that happened, I think, back in July last year. And it's safe to say that he's put his own stamp on the character before. You may not love the character, you may not love the aesthetics of the character, or the bastardised cut-up version that the Warner Brother executive gave us, but he certainly put his own authentic sort of stamp on it. The green peroxide hair, the sort of metallic teeth, the tattoos, the nonsense with the hand and stuff like that. It was interesting, but I think he's dialed it up a level here, because look at this. Admittedly, it is out of focus, but you get that tantalising little look at what Jared has been doing in the midst of a pandemic, when he's not doing his Kumbaya, my lord, sort of meditative sessions away from the pandemic and coming back and being hit with a ton of bricks that the world has changed. When he's not doing that, he's thinking out the box and doing this crazy shit with Joker. Look at that, man. That looks closer to Heath Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix Joker, than it does to the not Zack Snyder, the Jared Leto sort of Suicide Squad version of Joker. He's got long hair. He's naked again, because this guy has got a tremendous physique. He is shredded, and he wants the world to see it, and fair play to him. That would be me as well if I was in his shoes. I'm not quite as shredded. I'm putting the muscle on as we speak. And of course, he's handling the very famous Joker card. Of course, we've seen that at the end of Batman Begins. He's I can't recall the word that Gary Oldman, or the phrase that Gary Oldman's Commissioner Gordon, I think it was he Commissioner at that point, it wasn't, what he says. I think he had a taste for the theatrics or something like that, was a famous thing. That was the calling card, the Joker card. So it's something that's synonymous with Joker. Man, I am so excited to see this guy playing the character again. By all accounts, David Ayer says we had 10 minutes of unused footage from the Suicide Squad featuring Leto's performance. It get left in the cutting room floor. For whatever reason, they decided to make Joker a romantic side interest to Harley Quinn, which is completely flying in the face of the reality of the comics, where it is, of course, Harley Quinn who is a romantic side interest of Mr. J. So, he get bastardised his performance. He never got his full potential as a character. They shafted him and brought in Joaquin Phoenix to portray the character in Joker, and I'm glad they did, because it was a great performance. But it is nice to see Zack throwing him some breadcrumbs, throwing him a bone, if you like a dog. And he's not a dog, he's an amazing actor. And he's now going to get the chance to portray the character again. He's getting his teeth into it, and as they do say at the bottom, it may have been a different article I was reading actually, but they do, I'm pretty sure it's this article. It could be that he gets more equal screen time alongside Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne Batman character. Of course, we've seen that in, I think it was Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, where it was revealed that that version of Joker had brutally beaten, murdered and burnt his good friend Robin, and you've seen that with the graffitied and crisped suit that he had sort of as a monolith to his friend. So it was hinted that there was that connection between these characters. It was hinted that he had murdered Robin. I want to see these two characters back on the screen together, and obviously just seeing that dynamic, that hatred, maybe seeing some unfinished business with the whole Robin side story that was alluded to and made more meaty with the actual, I think it was the set designers or costume designers who came out and told us what the actual meaning was behind that costume. But look, man, I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see Jared flexing his muscles. Hopefully he can do enough to maybe, I don't know, persuade the exec at Warner Brothers that we maybe need another Joker movie and that he does deserve to put his own slant on a character in a solo movie. Time will tell. I'm really, really looking forward to the Zack Snyder cut now, and hopefully we can get it over here, because as I keep saying, we don't have HBO Max. But look, moving on to the fourth topic on the show tonight. It's all about Kat Dennings, everyone's favourite intrepid sort of scientist. And if you've been watching WandaVision over the last couple of weeks, you will have seen in the last episode that Kat Dennings did return with Jimmy Woo. It's not Jimmy Woo. Jimmy Woo's a character. What is his name again? Jesus Christ, I'm blanking on his name. But the character returned. Darcy returned with Jimmy Woo. What is his name? Terrible. Absolutely terrible. But Jimmy Woo, he's a really cool character, man. And yeah, she returned. And she made a very memorable return. She was a standout character for me in that episode. And she was vivacious in everything that we've seen in for the original movie. And as Stephen did allude to in the last show when we spoke about it, it may have actually been the review of WandaVision episode 3 or 4, but it was episode, was it 3 or 4? I don't know, I'm losing the plot. But as he did allude to, she was almost a more interesting character than the Jane character. And sadly, it looks as though she's not going to be returning with her good friend Natalie Portman to portray the Darcy character in for Love and Thunder. This is what she had to say. She was asked about the potential of returning in a talk with IGN, and she had this to say, very short, succinct, straight to the point, whatever phrase, adjective you want to use. Well, I have not gotten a call, so I kind of doubt it since they're shooting it right now, so probably not. But anything Marvel ever asks of me, the answer is always yes. So she's not shutting the door. She's not being butthurt. She is leaving it firmly ajar for a possible return as Darcy in the cinematic universe. Look, man, I'd be happy just to see this character in the actual TV side of things, popping up like a sort of, as I keep saying, intrepid sort of scientist figure. She's been speaking about her relationship with Natalie Portman as well. She says, because Natalie and I are already friends. I remember this exactly. I walk in the room and I'm very shy. I came in, I sat down, and Natalie hadn't gotten there yet, and everyone was so nice. Natalie came in and sat in my lap, as you do, because we are friends, as you do. I don't sit in many friends' laps, but hey ho, if that's what floats your boat, then why not? I think our friendship started to infect them. It's purity and love. Slowly Darcy became more involved, and I was like, why are they adding me to the scenes, or two scenes? That's kind of what happened. If I am being honest, friendship, magic is the reason I am here today. I can't speak English tonight, guys, and most times I speak on YouTube, people criticise English anyway. They kind of suggest that they can't understand me, even when I'm speaking crisp and coherent English, but I'm saying reason instead of reason. And I'm just having a bit of a shambles of a show tonight, but we'll just delve into it, man. Well, I'd love to see Kat Dennings coming back to Thor at some point, but to be quite frank, if Taika Waititi hasn't found it within him to write her into the story, then I'm firmly on Taika's side in all things, because I trust that guy with my life, really, and I don't even know him. I would trust him with my life, such as the brilliance of that man, and such as the brilliance of his story writing, or his storytelling, his script writing. I have full confidence that this guy will get the balance right with the characters. We're already seeing a lot of characters coming in to this Thor Love and Thunder movie. Most of the Guardians are there. We've got Peter Quill in there. We've got Rocket, and I think Groot's in there. I don't know who else is in there. We know we've got Christian Bale coming in as, what is it, God the Godslayer or something like that, or God Butcher, I don't know what it is. So we've got a lot of faces in there. We've got the likes of Valkyrie, we've got Jane coming back. There's a lot of things to address, a lot of story arcs to address. Why are the Guardians in here? Has Jane got cancer? Is that affecting her when she uses the powers? Is it a sort of tragic thing where Thor can heal her, save her, but she doesn't want healed? There's going to be that powerful sort of romantic tinge with sadness side plot going on. We're going to have Thor doing what he's doing. We're going to have the Guardians coming in. There's a lot of shit happening. And as an aside to that, we have Christian fucking Bale in there. As I says before, Christian Bale in an MCU movie. So I don't think we quite need Kat Dennings in there at this specific point in the Marvel timeline, but I would imagine that they are leaving the door open for her as much as she's leaving the door open for them, in the sense that if they are bringing her back for WandaVision, there must be some reasoning to that. If it's not as a continued sort of role in the TV side of things, then it could be that she is indeed going to pop back up in Thor at some point. Maybe she'll be a part of SWORD moving forward. They look as though they're going to be an organisation moving forward, a firm fixture, if you'd like, in the MCU. So, in a sense, what I'm saying is, happy to see Kat Dennings speaking about the role. Happy to see her back in WandaVision. Hopefully she does come back in the MCU at some point, the cinematic side of things. But right now, I just can't wait to see Thor Love and Thunder, regardless of whether she's in or she's not in. And I couldn't really give a shit either way. So I'm going to move on, guys, on that note, to the fifth topic, the penultimate topic on the show tonight. And everyone's favourite Dane has been out speaking. Mads Mikkelsen has been out speaking. Everyone's favourite Dane, really. Can you name another Danish person? I can't. And yep, he's been out speaking about Galen. Also, he's been out speaking about the ill-fated Rogue One reshoots, and flying in the face of Tony Gilroy when he says it was an absolute shambles and he came in and saved the day. Rewrote half of it, changed the ending, and made it not such a soppy shit ending, really. He's come out and he's flying in the face and he's had this to say. I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit on that because that's far too small. Let's zoom in, shall we? There we go. He's had this to say. I've got geriatric eyes, I can't read that from here. Some of it was a little chaotic. There was no secret that there was some rewriting, not recruiting. I'm making things up in the script while we were doing it, and when you do that, it's obviously very tricky for the other actors to know, what am I carrying into this room now? You know, I opened the door, I'm not back to what happened before. So there was some of that. Having said that, it always felt like a solid story. A young girl lost. Who doesn't, lost who in brackets? Doesn't know where she belongs. Doesn't know where she belongs in the world. Then an Oppenheimer story unfolds. She's always heard he was this, and then she realises he was that, and it was quite beautifully written. And at the end of the day, the changes that was in the film was not as dramatic as people talk about. It was tweaks. But obviously, if you do it while you're working, it can be confusing. I don't believe you, Mads. I think the changes were quite expansive. Listening to Tony Gilroy, the guy who actually rewrote the script, I should say, not wrote it. He says that there was a shambles. All of the characters were surviving to the end. We didn't have the Vader corridor scene. He came in, clear head, non-Star Wars fan, rewrote it all, and made it more coherent and a better ending, a darker ending. And the reason, really, that everyone who's watched Rogue One loves it, that Vader sequence was jaw-dropping in the theatres. And that wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for Tony Gilroy. So whilst I respect you, Mads, and I love you as an actor, I think you're talking absolute shit here, and you're dancing around in half-truths. Maybe it's the elements that touched his character weren't as widespread and maybe weren't as big and meaningful to the story, the changes to his arc, but I think the ending was drastically changed, and I'm glad it was. But look, man, I don't know why I put that in there. It was just a little filler topic to see me out to the end. I thought those sort of first primary topics I touched upon in the show tonight were a little bit more juicier. So on that note, I'm going to move on because I ain't got much more to say to the very definition of a filler topic to see the show out. It's all about Wicked, a musical that's coming up shortly that is going to focus on the Wicked Witch of the West from the Wizard of Oz TV show. Now, this apparently is an award-winning Broadway musical that's done the rounds for years. They have been looking to adapt this to maybe a movie experience for a long, long time. Stephen Daldry, by all accounts, was in the project up until October. He left, and now they're looking to bring in John M. Chow of Crazy Rich Asians fame, and I barely says that there. Crazy Rich Asians. And yeah, they're looking to bring this guy in. They've used that famous word, tapped. I hate that word. It's like slew as well. It's a word that only appears in movie spheres, if you like. Don't you know what it means? They tapped him, what, they took out a little mallet and fucking tapped him in the head, I don't know. But look, I digress, man. Yep, they're looking as though they are going to be bringing this guy in, Chow. And no, I can't admit to knowing much about this guy other than Crazy Rich Asians, which I really did enjoy. I thought it was a great movie. Henry Golding, absolutely amazing in that. It was funny. It had musical elements in it too, which really did flow well. This guy has worked in another musical. I think it's Up and Coming. I'm trying to find the name of the movie. He is actually In the Heights. He has just made a musical, so this may be part of the mindset of why they have looked to bring this guy in. I've seen he's worked in a musical before. He's worked in a movie with musical elements in Crazy Rich Asians. I can't say that. Asians. Can't speak. And that may be why they are looking to bring this guy in. He might just be a really good filmmaker too, but really the reason I flung this in was because, as you do see there, it's based on Gregory Maguire's best-selling novel. It was an award-winning, highest-grossing Broadway show. It's the highest-grossing of all time at Broadway, which is high praise indeed. And just this concept of looking into the backstory of the Wicked Witch of the West and how she formed her relationship with Glinda, the Good Witch. What the hell is this? It came up, man. I don't know what the hell's popped up there. We've got an error in Streamlabs and it's going to have to close. So on that note, I'm rounding the show up because it's over. Bye-bye. Fucking hell. What is going on?